Okay, I am here with the author of Profit First, Clockwork, Fix This Next, and many, many more books helping entrepreneurs, small business owners, Mike Michalowicz. Mike, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Thanks for coming on the show.
You nailed it, Anthony. You nailed it. Michalowicz.
Okay.
Yep.
So thank you so much. So we don't have that much long, so I want to get just right into it.
Yes,
so,
do it.
You've written a ton of books. Your most famous one, I think, being Profit First. I've heard so many people in our community mention this book to me and how it was life-changing for them. So I picked it up. I'm about halfway through it right now. I swear I'm like highlighting half of every page of my Kindle.
Thank you.
I don't say that often. It's one of those rare books where it's like, there's so many gems. It's such a simple concept.
Yeah.
Can you just get into what Profit First is, why it's been so revolutionary for so many people?
Yeah, the essence of it, Anthony, is profit first is the pay yourself first principle that's been around in personal finance since biblical times. It's actually in the Bible as a concept of tithing. And it's been modernized in Richest Man in Babylon and Think and Grow Rich and modern finance experts. So it's a philosophy that's been around. And then the idea is every time that you have your income come in, you take a percentage, you hide it away from yourself, and that represents your collective savings for your future self. So I translate profit first or pay yourself first to profit first for businesses. We literally do the exact same process. So in practice, every time income comes in, a sale of some type, we take a predetermined percentage of that money, hide it away from the business as profit. So if I want my business to have a 15% profit, I take 15%. If I want a 25% profit, I take 25%. What happens then is it reverse engineers that profit. If I can't afford to take that profit, it doesn't mean I shouldn't have that 25% profit, for example. It means my business is not in a position to sustain that currently. I have to fix the business. So we were saying profit first doesn't fix your business. It tells you what needs to be fixed within your business. And that's what it does.
And can every entrepreneur take profit right from the get-go? Is it possible?
I believe every entrepreneur. You could have $1 revenue this year. Why not have it to 25% or 10% profit? That's a quarter or a dime. And you'll have to figure out how to make that happen. The interesting thing is in the book, my team did an analysis of about 1,000 companies, all different industries, and we identified what percentages the fiscally elite do. So these are the best performing companies that were pizza shops and professional services and manufacturers, everything under the sun. And we compiled these numbers. What was so interesting, we have about 1.1 million, it's a little bit over that now, but about 1.1 million businesses that deploy Profit First globally. We find that the earlier they do it, the more likely they're to have higher levels of sustained profit for the life of the company. And the reason we believe is because they don't know better. They don't have the bad habits they need to unwind. They just said, starting today, I'm going to take 50% of all the income comes in and pay the owners of the business. And 10% is going to go to profit, and we're going to reserve money for our taxes. And they figure out how to get it right from the very get-go. It's the bigger businesses that are already doing hundreds of thousands, often millions, that come in, they try to do profit first. And now we have to unwind the bad habits, and the integration of profit first is a little bit slower.
Yeah. So it's like fix your golf swing first before you develop the bad swing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So most people focus on sales minus expenses equals profit. And it's just the natural kind of way that we all look at things. We have our top line, our bottom line, and whatever's left is what we take as profit. And you just suggest switching that around to sales minus profit equals your expenses.
Yeah, that's the formula swap. It's based upon, it's that simple.
It's so simple, but like so necessary.
So necessary. And I think the first thing that comes up is, why do all of us follow sales minus expense equals profit, and what's the consequence? Well, I've been surveying audiences informally and formally for almost 2 decades now, about 17 years, and asking people, why did you start your business? I'll tell you the 3 answers, and it's always in this order. I mean, not for every individual, but collectively, the order is financial freedom. That's the number 1 reason I start my business. Second reason, personal freedom. Do I want what I want? Third reason, impact, serve community. That's the top 3 every single time. So I say, okay, well, you started for those 3 reasons. How are you doing in those? No financial freedom. In fact, I have less money than I ever had. I'm living off of loans and debt. No personal freedom. I'm working my ass off. And impact, forget it. I have no money and I have no time. I can't serve the people I want to serve. So then I think, how come, and this is about 83 to 85% of businesses that have that phenomena happen. Everyone goes into business wanting something and almost no one's achieving it. Are we all like stupid? Like, are entrepreneurs just dumb? Like, what's wrong with us? And that's when I realized, looking at that formula, that's the problem. So why is it the problem? Sales minus expenses equals profit. It's human nature, it's called the primacy effect, to prioritize things that come first and to deprioritize and basically apply the manana syndrome to things that come last. So if I have a health scare, I would never come out of the hospital saying, you know what, starting today, I'm going to take my health seriously and put it last. I'd say starting today, I take my health seriously, I'm going to put it first. Well, we're told sales comes first. So almost every organization says my solution to my business is I got to sell more, which is actually a very dangerous thing. You need to sell, but you need to sell appropriately. Just selling for sales sake actually stresses out an organization, but that's a different discussion. The next thing we look at is expenses. Okay, well, I got to spend, but we don't like to say the word spend or expense. We like to say grow or invest. So we say, I got to sell more, I got to invest in this business. I got to sell more, we got to grow. And so we just stay stuck in those two things. The last thing is profit. And it's even in our calendar, we look once a year at the end of the year, like, how do we do this year? And when there's no profit, we say, I guess I didn't sell enough and push the growth enough. I didn't invest in the business enough, maybe next year. So it's the manana syndrome. And for most businesses, it's like that golf swing, it gets worse and worse and worse, and it's a real problem. So by flipping the formula, sales minus profit equals expenses, what happens is we need to sell, but we need to sell profitably because we're taking the profit out. It actually keeps sales in check, that we sell the right thing to the right customer the right way. That's the best way to sell. And we're ensuring profit. Then expenses now is a leftover, which is interesting. It's what we have to deal with. And there's a behavioral theorem called Parkinson's law that we work with the constraints available to us. When we have less resources, we actually have to be more frugal, but we also think more innovatively. So I'll give you an example. Of course, we live by this. We have about 8 people that work here. And so we needed 8 new computers. This was a few years back. Our computers are all outdated. And we said, we don't have enough money to buy 8 new computers because the expenses aren't there. Now, if we weren't taking our profit first, maybe it would have been there. And we've just said, okay, buy it. But we didn't. So we sat down and said, how are we going to get new computers with very little money available for that? And someone here is like, well, why don't we call it large corporations? They're often turning their equipment. So we called a major pharmaceutical that we knew an HR contact and said, do you ever ditch your computers? And they said, yeah, we're ditching like 600 of them this quarter. And what we do is we sell them to our employees for $50 a piece, and then the leftovers go in the trash. They said, do you want the leftovers? We said, yeah. They had 100 computers left. We took the 10 best ones. They were 3 years old. They were cutting edge microprocessor. They were unbelievable. I'm broadcasting right now on one of these computers, and this computer is quite a few years old. It was unbelievable what we got. And it didn't cost us nothing. We had to rent a U-Haul van to go pick them up, and took my time and one of my colleagues' time. But that was it. What's so interesting about humanity, and you and I are great at this, and so is everyone listening in, is necessity is the mother of invention. We'll find a way. So take your profit first and then work intentionally with less money to spend in your business.
So is that how it fundamentally works? It's just changing your behavior. It's a psychological trick.
It's a psychological trick. Yeah. So some people think it's not a mathematical thing, because if you look at the math, sales minus expense equals profit, or sales minus profit equals expenses, it's called a variable swap. The math actually works the same. The numbers plug in and come out to be the exact same. So at a logical basis, people are like, well, that's not logical. And it's not. It's behavioral. And so what it does is there's a few things at play here. One is what comes first, we prioritize. So now we focus on profit, becomes a priority. Secondly, it plays into the greatest reward mechanism in human behavior, which is called dopamine and serotonin. These things come down, shower brain. When you're seeing the money go from income right to a profit account at your bank, you see cash accumulating, builds confidence, anticipation, excitement. It actually causes us to replicate that behavior more. The other component is now there's less money available for expenses because we've taken our profit first. The scarcity effect, Parkinson's law, which means we work with more efficiently or effectively with what is available to us. Ironically, Parkinson's law can work against us. If all the money that we have is available, we'll expand into it. There was a study around people studying for exams in college and in high school, and you probably experienced this too, Anthony. When we're given like weeks to prepare for an exam, most people don't prepare. It's the night before. But if we're told the night before the professor says, oh, there's a test tomorrow, that's when we start cranking and studying. Most people say they're excellent at cramming for studying. And that's true because that's actually the optimal way for us to behave. Compressing time, we move more efficiently. Compress money, we use it more efficiently.
Compress money. Huh. Yeah. Parkinson's law. So I've only ever heard it applied to time, never to money.
All resources. It's funny. I'm flying out next week for an international opportunity. I'm speaking in Dublin to Irish entrepreneurs, and we're going to talk about profit first. And there's one part of the presentation I do that lands with everybody in every country, and it's a story about toothpaste. I talk about Parkinson's law, and I say, watch tonight. You're going to experience it. If you have a full tube of toothpaste, watch how much toothpaste you use. It's subconscious, but when there's that empty tube of toothpaste, the rolling, the twisting, the turning, it's all innovation. Some people are like, I cut the back end off, I get some more out. It's funny.
So true.
That's Parkinson's law. It's so wired into our nature that it's not our demand for a resource that's dictating its consumption. It's the availability of that resource that is influencing our demand for it. More things in front of us, the more we consume it.
Hey everyone, before we dive back into the podcast, I've got a quick shout out about the Your Life, Your Terms report. This is Tom's weekly newsletter where he and Nick share real stories, experiences, and powerful insights to help you live life on your terms. Each week, Tom breaks down the economy, real estate, macro trends, and Bitcoin, and gives you actionable steps to make these insights work for you. No fluff, no vague predictions, just a clear path to thriving no matter what's going on in the world. Tens of thousands of Canadians are already getting the real information they need to level up their lives every week. I can honestly say it's the only newsletter that I've stayed subscribed to for years. It delivers real value that keeps me coming back for more. Join us and start getting the insights and tools to create the life you want, plus entertaining and inspiring stories from Tom and Nick along the way. Sign up for free at rockstarinnercircle.com/get-started and start living life on your terms. That's rockstarinnercircle.com/get-started. Your first step to living life on your terms.
Yeah, we just don't value all that extra toothpaste because there's so much.
No, we don't. And we don't value the extra money. Most businesses over time, maybe yours too, Anthony, the revenue goes like this, expenses go almost uncannily at the exact same rate. It's Parkinson's law.
Yeah, even your book was just a simple reframe for me. It's not growing for growth's sake. It's growing for profit. It's why you started in the first place, to your point about the big three things: financial freedom, personal freedom, to make an impact. Those are the main drivers for majority, for everybody really. So optimize for that. Why are you not optimizing for that? That is what you're doing it in the first place for. But then you get stuck in this trap of growth for growth's sake, reinvest. And it's one day I'll take profit. This will lead to bigger profits.
Yeah.
But it's take the damn profit. You're in it for the profit. Yeah. Find the profit right now and then figure the rest out.
And the likelihood of profit in the future as your business grows actually diminishes because the bad habits develop further. So it becomes this crazy lunatic behavior of we weren't profitable again, but next year will be if we just grow our way into it. We think there's this magical switch or threshold. Maybe once I get my business to the first 100,000 or the first million or the first 5 million or 10, that all of a sudden, somehow, everything's going to correct itself. And that's never the case. Profitability is part of the mechanics of a business. It needs to be baked into it, systematized. I just had a call a couple of weeks ago with a company we were looking to invest in, and we're backing out because they're a $6 million organization. They're not profitable. We said, we think you got to be a $3 million organization to become profitable. And they're like, no way. No. We're going to 10 or we're out. I'm like, that means great for your ego. You can tell someone you have 10 million as they sit in your lawn furniture in your house because you can't afford real furniture. That's not the way to grow a business. It needs to be healthy. On the flip side is once you nail the profit component, our experience, our case studies all indicate you actually start growing faster. So sometimes you have to step back, become profitable at 3, and then you can blow through 15 or 20, or whatever your number is. I'm not impressed by the revenue numbers. I really care about the profit numbers. But until you nail the profitability, the rest is just scattershot.
Yeah, you could have a $10 million business, but if your expenses have grown right along with that revenue to $10 million, I'd rather have a $10,000 a year business than $5,000 profit, right?
Dude, I am so with you. So the more revenue we generate, the more sales we have actually translates to stress. So you think about it. I sell something to you, Anthony. That's a sale. I sell something to the guy down the street. I now have an obligation to you and the guy down the street. I sell the next thing. I have another obligation. Most small business owners, that's who I work with, $25 million or less in revenue, but most business owners are sub-million. All the weight's on their shoulders. So now they're selling more and more. They're so overwhelmed with stress that they're pulling their hair out and they start to loathe their business. So it's ironic. I would take that $10,000 business in a heartbeat that's generating $5,000 over one that's 10 million. Because listen, that 10 grand is me one day work a year and I got the job done and I got no stress, man. And I got my $5,000. But that $10 million business is taking up all of my valuable time and there's nothing to show for it. And that just sucks.
Well, Mike, I only have this perspective now from just starting to read your book, and I'm not even fully finished the book, but it's just a total reframe. Like, you know what it is? You want to slap yourself. And you have a story in the book near the beginning about a woman that was broke down in tears because she's like, I'm so dumb. How was I not thinking this way for the last 10 years? Yeah. Very sad story. Yeah. But I'm reading and I'm like, I want to slap myself. Like, and not in a bad way. Okay. But in a good way, like, hey, like, dude, this is what it's all about. And it's so simple. It is so simple that it's like, why is this not taught more? Why is this not top of mind? And it just takes a guy like you to come along and be like, hey, what the hell are we doing here? And I know you went through your own journey to get there.
I went through my own journey. I used to be in some entrepreneurial groups. I still am. But what I noticed is it was always about top line thinking. First of all, to get in the group, you had a certain size business. When you were in the group, the person that said they had the $1 million business was cool until the next person said, well, I got 2. And now they were the cool kid. And then someone had 10. One guy hit $1 billion. Like, oh, and even that today is like, oh, $1 billion business? That's not profitable. So like the top line sounds so amazing. There is this magical appeal. Like they must have something right. And then you learn they're not profitable. And in this case, they were sucking down all the venture capital that was backing them. It was just, maybe the business will turn. But it's also promoted in the media we consume, not your show, but a lot of magazines and articles is like, look at how big this company is. Aren't they amazing? No. It's the business that's simply healthy. And so the challenge I tell people is when next time someone says, tell me about business, how big is it? The other question about how big is it is how many employees do you have? It's another way of measuring the size of a business. I say, hey, let's ask a better question. Let's ask how healthy our businesses are. And you see people with deer in the headlights looks. They're like, what do you mean how healthy? Like, how profitable are you, man? How little do you work? And they're like, and they go running away.
Yeah.
Like a little baby.
So we see a very similar thing with real estate investors, right? Many of the listeners of the show, real estate investors, and it's how many doors do you have? How many doors? So I got 40 doors.
Yeah, I hear that too.
And the doors thing is like this ego thing. And it's like, oh, they got 40 doors. Like it's a big deal, right? But it's like, well, is the portfolio negative cash flowing? Is it positive cash flowing? Is it actually producing a profit? And it's so simple, but it gets away from all of us.
Yeah. This is an easy bravado number. It's just how humans are wired. I think we've always been this way. Is we brag about the top line. So there's a saying, not mine, but they say profit is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. And that is the epitome of the truth. Let's not worry about revenue at all. Let's worry about profitability because that gives us a sense of what's going on. And then look at the bank accounts. That's why Profit First is all bank account based. I just had a call a little bit ago where a person said, I'm looking to sell my business. I need your help. What is the number one determinant of increasing my valuation? This is my one shot at an exit. And my response is, it's proven profit, which means bank statement. If you can plop down bank statement from a year ago, one from 11 months ago, one from 10 months ago, and each one shows growing cash, that's indisputable. But what most businesses do is they call it a book. In the book, it says, here's our recast numbers. And it's all this hypothetical stuff. Like if I didn't work at this company, there'd be another 100,000 to the profit. If we landed this client and they had a contract, it's just like hypothetical stuff. No one can dispute the bank statements, and that's where true valuations are determined.
Yeah, Nick, you don't know him, Nick and Tom, the two brothers who run this brokerage. He has a great sign in his office right behind me. You can't deposit excuses. It's always stuck out with me. It's just There's no getting around the bluntness of that, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you can't deposit excuses. Okay, so we're explaining the concept. People should really read the book. What can people do? Okay, pay yourself first. What does that practically look like? Is it pick a random number? 10% of every dollar that comes into my life, comes into my business, I'm going to set that aside for profit for myself. How do you practically go about it?
Yeah. So I'll tell you about the setup and I'll tell you about the numbers. So first of all, the setup, you have to do this at your bank. People are like, oh, I can just do it on a spreadsheet or something. You can, but this is another behavioral component. We need what's called a behavioral intercept. To set the stage, it was now about 12 or 13 years ago, I said, I got to get serious about fitness. I ain't getting any younger and I need to exercise. So what did I do? I said, well, I'm going to use discipline. I wake up in the morning, I'll exercise. And that works for a day. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, well, I'm going to, go to the bathroom, I'll drink some coffee, read the news, then I'll go work out. And I didn't. So what I started to do, which changed everything for me, is I looked at my behavioral pattern, which is wake up, go to the bathroom, drink coffee and read news. In there, I say, can I intercept what I'm doing to drive the outcome that I intend for myself, which is exercise? I said, well, every morning I wake up, the first thing I do is go to the bathroom. I put my sneakers literally on the toilet seat. So I'd wake up, and I go to the bathroom and there's my sneakers and I cannot use the toilet without grabbing my sneakers. That was enough momentum to put them on my feet and just walk down to the gym and start some exercise, and that would inevitably bring more. I've now been religious about it. It's wired into me. And I still have my gym clothes intercepting where I am, so I can't ignore it. I can't excuse it. Well, with our money, we have to set this at the bank. As I shared, I've surveyed countless entrepreneurs, and just in informal surveys, I'll say, who here logs into your bank account, even though your accountant may say, don't do that, read your P&L, your balance sheet, your cash flow statement. Every hand goes up. Everyone logs in their bank account. Some people are checking in, hourly. Did that deposit come in? Well, if you're going to your bank account, that is your walk into the bathroom. We need the sneakers there. So what we do, the practical thing is we set multiple accounts at your bank with different labels for different intentions. One is to pay the owner a reasonable salary. Most owners far underpay themselves. One is to pay profit, reserve it. That's different than owner's compensation, salary for work you do. Profit is a reward for investing or starting an organization. Taxes, the biggest liability associated with operating a business that business owners are least prepared for is inevitably the tax bill. So your business can pay your taxes. Regardless of the formation, you come in an S Corp or C Corp. You just got to do it right and talk to an accountant how it reimburses you. But you set these different accounts. Maybe you need to buy equipment, and then you set up a CapEx account. When income comes in, we allocate in a percentage basis to different accounts. Always allocate the profit first. Dopamine, serotonin gets released. That's a reward mechanism. Also, right after that, we put money into the owner's pay account. And even though these are percentages, slices of a pie, logically, it doesn't matter what order it is. Behaviorally, it really freaking matters. You see money go into profit. You see money go into owner's pay. All that serotonin and dopamine comes out. Last account we fund is OPEX. That's for the funding of your business. That's the empty toothpaste tube. Parkinson's law is our ally. In regards to the percentages, I have them in the book. So you can get profit first at bookshop.org or Amazon or any site, whatever. And you'll see the percentages there. If you want to you want to go the cheap man's route or the poor man's lobster, as my father used to say, just Google Mike's charts for profit first. It's like all over the interwebs. You can find it anywhere. You don't have to subscribe, just get it. What I did was we analyzed these different businesses based upon their revenue size and found that the fiscally elite businesses in any industry based upon revenue are at certain percentages. We call those TAPs, or target allocation percentages. And that's the stuff you want to target. Now, if you're an established business, you may not want to start there. You may want to do what we call a rollout plan. And that's where I bring in an expert. We call them profit first professionals. If you're a brand new business, you probably can just insert those numbers. That's how you do it.
Wow, that's simple. Okay, so set up those different bank accounts. And then once you allocate to profit, how do you not touch that account? Because there's
great. Yeah. Yeah. So that's another behavioral tendency is temptation. We cave into it. It just happened yesterday. So I write in my books, because it's true, one of my addictions is chocolate chip cookies. Like, I love them. I can't stop myself. So we don't have them at our house because that's my weak spot. And I try to use willpower, but it fades. Someone brought in yesterday and said, I heard you like chocolate chip cookies. Huge heaping thing. I'm like, no. So my assistant Erin, she's like, let's get these out of here. Mike can't control himself. And then went home with somebody else. Thank God. Profit's the same way. When we put money in a profit account, the moment's going to come. You're going to look at your empty tube of toothpaste, that OPEX account, and say, I don't have enough money to pay my bills. Now, remember this. When you can't pay your bills, when you take your profit first, it's profit first telling you can't afford your bills. There's a flaw in your business. Either you're running too much in costs, maybe your margins aren't right, maybe you don't have pricing right, and your pricing has to be adjusted. There's something wrong. So don't steal from profit. Fix your business. But the other thing is we hide the profit from you. So we transfer it actually to another bank. The president of our company, her name is Kelsey. This is true. She's the username for our profit account at our bank. We call it Relay, or not Relay. The bank is called Relay. That's the bank we keep it at. And she's the username, but I don't have it. I have the password, and she doesn't have that. Profit is only permitted to be distributed to equity owners in the business, and we actually share with all of our employees too, on a quarterly basis. We cannot reinvest in the business or plow back. We have to find a better way to operate our business. So Kelsey and I will meet. She's coming in. She lives in Spain now. She's flying in a couple days, and she's going to be here for the month. So the end of the quarter is coming up, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the use of funds, distribution, and so forth. Then she'll enter the username. She'll leave the room. She puts a sticky note over it. I then enter the password. She comes back. It's like turning the nuclear keys. We go 1, 2, 3, release. Opens up. We're both staying in front of it. And I know it sounds like it's kind of childish and silly. We're approaching 70, I think it's like 68 quarters of profit distributions, 68 consecutive quarters of profit. And we have a profit being distributed next quarter already. We know it because it's in there. It sounds childish at times, even to myself, but it just works with who we are. So let's embrace it.
No, it's human nature. It's just human nature. Like you literally have to go those lengths to keep yourself from your savings or from the chocolate chip cookies or from whatever. It's just it's easy to sit at the cookie tray and binge out. And
oh my God!
But if you don't even see the cookies, it's not even a thought. Like people bring treats into the office here, and I come around the corner to our office kitchen and I see a whole tray of like donuts, and it's like I wasn't even craving anything sweet or sugary until I saw the donuts. Yeah. Now every time I walk by there, it's like I'm using up willpower to not look at the donuts.
Yeah,
I didn't even have that thought until I saw it, right? So it's like that profit. It's like a big tray of cookies.
It's the exact same thing. It's so fun. That's a great point. Because when it's outside, it is out of mind. Yes. And when we don't, I don't even know what our profit is. I can make a good guess at it, I think. But I don't know because I don't care until it comes profit distribution time. And sometimes I'm surprised. I'm like, oh my God, that's like a lot more than I expected. We're like, yeah, we had a really good quarter. Good revenue, but because we're taking a percentage of revenue, if we're increasing revenue, we know profit's going to be increasing at the exact same rate. And we just have to control our expenses accordingly. And it's funny, we had a big sale happen yesterday. One of our team members here got it, a big project. And there was high-fiving going on in the office. I'm like, oh, yeah, congratulations on landing that. Like, no, the profit, because everyone shares in the profit. I'm the shareholder. I took the initial risk of starting this business, so I get the majority, 80%. But then 20% is distributed among our team. And they're like, oh, this is meaningful money. And there's some high-fiving going on. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool, man. Thank you so much for your time. I know you got to run here. You do so much more than just this Profit First. You've got like 5, 6 other books.
They're all strategically positioned wherever my fingers point, right there. Yeah.
So can just leave our audience with what the next step would be, best place to find you, what to read first.
Yeah. So next step is my website. It's MikeMichalowicz.com. No one can spell that. So I have Mike Motorbike, as in motorcycle, MikeMotorbike.com. Nickname from grade school, PG rated. It's the only one I got that was PG rated. Everything else was X. But you go to MikeMotorbike.com. You can get chapters for all my books. Basically, the book you should read is what is your biggest need in your business. So first identify what's your challenge in your business, then read that book. And maybe I have it or maybe someone else, but to solve the problem you have. If you don't know what your need is, I wrote a book called Fix This Next, which identifies how to identify what needs to be fixed in your business. Also, I used to write for the Wall Street Journal, so all those articles are available for free at MikeMotorbike.com.
Well, thank you, Mike. Your book, Profit First, alone is already having a really big impact on my thinking. And I know it's really changed the lives of some other people I know, some clients of ours. So thank you so much for everything that you do. And thank you for your time today, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Okay.
Thanks so much, Mike. Hope to connect one day again soon.
That'd be great. See you.
Okay. Thanks so much, man. See ya.
Bye.